Hi guys, I'm Viking Dog 78 and this is round 5 of the Aero League Racing Group 3 Championship Tier 1. We are racing Interlagos, which I have been waiting for because now I can ask the question, why would anybody who is not diagnosed with an antisocial personality disorder, why would anyone vote for this track over Mount Panorama? Like, what's your issue with Mount Panorama? The same people that then go and vote for the Nordschleife to be on the calendar. Like, I don't understand you guys. But anyway, let's go into quali with a quote of a wise man that once said, "We could have been racing at Bathurst, a great and iconic track. Instead, we're going to be driving around the Interlagos." So here we are for qualifying 10 minutes around Interlagos means that we get 3 or 4 flying laps, which is plenty of time to get a good lap in. I didn't use like 9 of these 10 minutes because as you can see I didn't put a good lap in until the very end. I was P8 on a 31.5 when you want to be in the mid 30s if you want to aim for pole position. I get a 30.7 here on the penultimate lap, and then I'm going to start my best lap of the session just behind Keplero, so you can compare our lines to see where I'm gaining, where I'm losing. The SNS was very good actually. It's always a bit tricky, the second corner, because you can lose the car over the curb. I get the slipstream from Keplero for the entirety of the lap, which helps a lot with the lack of straight line speed of the Renault. Get nicely on the apex of turn number 4 and then through 5 easily flat out. We go into 6. I don't remember if this corner has like 2 numbers. I don't know if it counts as 2 or 3, but anyway, on the power as early as possible and use all of the track on the outside without taking a penalty, because the penalties around here are massive. We go from 2 seconds to 3.5. Again, handling the oversteer on the exit there and then through the hairpin. This corner is very tricky. The Renault wants to snap constantly, and so you really have to manage the throttle input in a way so that you can stop the car from oversteering. Into the final corner, I was a bit too conservative. You can see that I lose time to Keplero and I lose a lot of time to the other top runners. It was going to be a lap that was going to be enough for pole position, but that final corner was really too much conservative, so I take the slipstream, I take the inside line, but I only improved by 1/1000th of a second, which is provisional P2, but Iggy goes fastest by about a tenth, so it's going to be P3 for the sprint race. So starting P3 for the sprint race, the main issue here is that everybody here at the front has a good starting car, has a good launch, and I have to find a way to overtake BX if I want to fight for, something like a win. So off the line you can see that everybody pretty much has an equal launch. BX has a slightly better one, so he will go alongside Iggy. I just cover off the inside to avoid any dive bombs from anybody. The 2 guys in front still go side by side. I try to take advantage of it, but I don't have the speed to go alongside BX. I give him a little bit of a bump draft, but now I have to defend from Neo, who will pull alongside on the outside. It's very easy to defend the inside here, and as you can see, Iggy defended from BX, and that allowed me through even though I was defending from Neo. So that allows me to get up to P2, and that's important because the Peugeot VGT is so hard to overtake, and it's a consistent theme throughout the season. And now I have to see what I can do from this position, and you will see that throughout the laps I managed to keep up in pace with Iggy, which I kind of was not expecting to. And yeah, the gap remained consistent, and I was very strong through the middle sector. Midway through the race, Iggy started to open up a little bit of a gap. As you can see, we went from 2 to 6/10, and on lap 6, end of lap 5, I almost lost the slipstream, but then I had a very good second sector, as you will see now as we get there. These 3 corners mainly where I was gaining so much time. You can see the difference in performance between the BMW and the Renault. And that gave me, an idea on how I could potentially overtake Iggy if I wanted to go for the move. You can see, especially through this corner, I was a lot stronger in corner entry. So as we go to the start of lap 7, I get a good run through the first chicane, which it wasn't happening all of that much, which allows me to keep a lot closer. And that's what I need. I need to get into the middle sector a lot closer to Iggy, because if I get into the middle sector half a second behind, I won't be able to mount any challenge. So we exit turn 4. I went a bit wide, but it's okay because I'm still close enough. I'm still 3/10.5, and I had the slipstream to compensate. And now we enter the part of the circuit where I'm very strong. So my idea here is to try and make a move into the hairpin at the end of the sector. And if it doesn't work, because obviously I have to give him space, the idea is that I will compromise his line, and that will set me up for the main straight. So I dive down the inside. Obviously, you see we give each other a lot of space. We are still side by side, and eventually he gets the position, but this time you can see just how close I am. This will give me a run into the main straight, which I never had the opportunity to do so far in the race. I also know that this is probably my last chance to attempt an overtake on Iggy, because then my rear tire wear will become an issue compared to his front tire wear, and I will get slower and slower. So it's all or nothing now. I take the slipstream. He doesn't cover off the inside. I don't know why, but he decided not to. So I take it and I get P1. Through the second corner of the SNS, I lifted off to make sure that he was closer to me, so that through turn number 3 he could not get a proper run with the slipstream, but he had to pull towards the outside a lot earlier than he wanted to, so that now I can defend the inside a lot easier and keep P1. So yeah, that's P1 in the sprint race, which doesn't happen very often with the Renault. We get to lap 9, and now my tires are shot. So we go through turn number 4, and just you can see how much I struggle through here. And this allows Iggy to go alongside me. I give him the outside for turns 6 and 7, which allows me to keep the position, but obviously now I don't have a gap to him anymore to work with. I have to defend, and I don't have rear tires to really have any significant pace at the moment. And Neo is also right behind us in a 3-way fight for the top 3 positions, essentially. So going through the final sector now, the end of the second sector and start of the final, you can see that I don't have grip and how much the car slides through mid to high speed corners. And the final corner is a proper pain, because you have to set up a very good exit, but I don't have any traction, so it's very difficult. I wanted to put on TCS, but the fact that I had to constantly keep the radar on didn't allow me to, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Iggy pulls alongside and he manages to get the move done before the braking point. I didn't feel like trying to dive him right back on the inside. I don't think I had the grip to make a clean move like that. And you can see how much I'm struggling now with the rear right completely shot. Neo will try to go around the outside of turn number 4, which again I cover off. You've seen this multiple times, but it's so easy to cover off the inside because the other driver is forced on the extra turf on the outside of the corner, and that just slows you down. I have to cover the inside here again, which I do. And then we get to, I don't know, I think turn 7 or 8. He goes again for the inside line. I didn't cover it properly. And he goes for the outside through here. This is amazing racing. Like, we're giving each other space. Both of us are pretty much on dead tires. I cover the inside here. He tries a switch back line. You can see I don't have any traction. I force him to not pull alongside here because I don't want to go alongside through this section. Then we enter the Junsao, the final proper corner. I just go slightly deep, but the traction was fine, and it's a run to the line essentially now with Neo getting a very good slipstream. It's the proper slipstream range to gain as much as possible. I'm trying to take the shortest run to the line, and as we get there, Neo will get P2 over me by just 21 thousandths of a second. So that was very much an amazing display of clean, respectful league racing action. Now we move into the 40 minutes feature race, starting third to last, only in front of Neo and Iggy, of course, with the reverse grid. Going off the line, I usually skip the first couple of corners because nothing happens, everybody's kind of spread out. But I have the BRZ in front, which doesn't have the best getaway in the rolling starts. So that gives me an opportunity straight away to close up on Sonic and potentially make a move on him. I think the entire grid is on medium tires for the first stint of the feature. Sonic covers off the inside, and as you saw, I don't really want to try and go around the outside here, so I let him go and I try to switch back, but there's not a lot of grip on the mediums, especially when they're still kind of cold. So I try again, but again on the outside here, not really a place to make a move. I try it, but Sonic gets the move on Kerper. I don't know if there was contact there, but it just allows me to get through nice and cleanly. And then kind of puts Kerper at the back of the pack. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a bump there that cost me time. It was nobody's fault really, it just unsettled my car and that's it. As we approach the final corner, usually something happens every time in the first lap at Interlagos because everybody's so close together. And something happens. I think Plero hit his own teammate, and I had to slow down a little bit to avoid Cap, my former teammate. So hi Cap. That puts Neo right behind me with the opportunity to overtake, but I'm also looking to try and overtake Sonic. So Sonic will try to push me towards the outside, but I was really hoping it wouldn't do that because I have Neo on my outside. Neo backs out of the move, and it's just myself and Sonic. We give each other space. So again, in the last couple of races, Sonic has really improved on his racecraft, and we go again trying to make a move on him. He covers off the inside, I go around the outside. I let him have the corner to try and switch back. He gets on the outside curb, which slows you down, and I get the move done. So that's P9 after a lap and a sector of the feature race. Skipping to lap 3, Alex is pushed off the track a little bit. He rejoins, and here I committed to the inside line. He tried to cover it off. He probably didn't see me, which is completely fair. But I get the inside line for the next corner, and that's P8 after 3 laps. Here, Bombard has to serve a track limits penalty, which allows me to get right behind Mortal and go for a move, again around the outside, which it's very hard to pull off a move around here. He pushes me towards the outside, but that gives Alex the invitation to go down the inside for a double overtake. We're still 3 wide into the corner, so nobody has backed out of it. And as we go through here, I make contact with Alex, and I apologize if that has compromised you in any way. I don't think it did, but I think all 3 of us did everything that we could to avoid any contact, and it was just a case of being 3 wide. Here I went on the brakes. I don't know if I was late or Alex was very early, but that gives the opportunity to Iggy to go alongside me. I really don't want to give up this position just yet, even though I'm starting to think that it could be a good idea to let Iggy by, but I will go into details in a little bit. For the moment, I'm just having fun going side by side with him through the middle sector, which is not a place where you normally go side by side. It's like 4 consecutive corners that we went side by side before I finally managed to clear him on traction here. So through lap 5, I was thinking, maybe it's not a bad idea if I let Iggy by, because we are equal on pace, but the BMW is better on a straight line. So if he is the guy in front between the 2 of us, I can use him so that he can clear the cars that we have in front, and I can just sort of follow him through. and that way we can get to the top guys, and once we're there, then we can start properly fighting each other. That was the plan. We catch this group of 4 cars that are fighting very heavily. They are the 2 McLarens and the 2 Supras. And this is just unlucky. I picked the outside line just to have a nice run through the corner. Rayo half spins, and that slows Fatban down, and that cost me a lot of time. Iggy gets 2 positions for free while I'm stuck here, and that Fatban is very slow once again here, and that completely kills my momentum, and that gives Neo the inside for the main straight, which loses me a position, which is just really unfortunate when I look at where Iggy is, because he just picked the inside line through the hairpin while I just went a bit safer on the outside. But here Neo breaks a lot earlier than he should have. That gives me the outside line, and I get back up to P8 at the very least. But at this point I decided that I had to clear Fatban as soon as possible, because in the heat of the moment I was like, I don't really know what's going on with this guy. He probably was under practiced as a reserve, so it's completely fair game. But I wanted to clear him as soon as possible and avoid any possible incident, which I do. And then we skip to lap 10 because the pace is very good. Like, you can see Iggy is the front car of this pack of 5 cars. He has not pulled away so much. Everybody is still very close. The pace was very close in this run from the entire tier, and so it was very hard to make a move. It was hard to keep up, actually. Alex goes for a move on his teammate, which makes Versailles go wide, and that gives me the invitation to go down the inside and get the move done before the next corner. Then we go directly to lap 12 because, again, not much is happening. The pace is very strong, and that doesn't allow for many overtaking opportunities just yet. Alex goes defensive. You could have avoided that. I'm never going to dive you into the final corner, but that allows me to switch back. Rayo serves a penalty in front of us. That was not a good place to serve the penalty. Like, you should move completely to the outside, but it is what it is. Alex tries to come right back at me. I defend the inside and go into turn 1. Again, it's kind of an easy defending spot, just like turn 4, because the guy on the outside doesn't have a lot of room to work with. Skipping to lap 15, which is the scheduled lap for my pit stop. My tires are dead, and you can just see how much I struggled. That will allow Neo to go through, but I'm not too bothered. I'm just thinking about getting into the pits as safely and as quickly as possible, so I don't want to fight him on dead tires. So he goes through, and I just have to get into the pits, which we do at the end of the lap. So something important is that BX pitted 2 laps earlier, and Sonic, who was behind me, pitted 3 laps earlier. So these guys will get a massive undercut on us, but they will have expectedly worse tire wear towards the end of the race, and that will give us an opportunity. As we exit the pits, I managed to jump Neo because of the Renault being slightly better on fuel consumption. So I'm back out in P8. And look at this, that pack of cars that goes from the leader to myself and Neo. All of us are on the same strategy, and all of us are converging and fighting potentially for the win. But that's the thing, everybody is very close on pace, and at this point I was kind of demoralized, because you kind of get demoralized when you exit the pits, and with like 8 to 9 laps to go, you are P8, as Ryu-chan will serve a penalty and drop behind all of us. It kind of gets depressing, and I probably wasn't performing at my best in this moment of the race, because I didn't have a goal anymore. Like, everybody looked so far in front. And yeah, I was pretty demoralized, but something happened at this moment of the race. I saw Keplero going fastest, getting the fastest lap with a 30.5. And that kind of made me switch my mentality, because as I go through the second sector, I will see that I'm purple. And I will tell myself, you know what, I can go for the fastest lap. I can definitely go for it. I did it in practice. I can go for it. And that completely switched my mentality and my performance, because from being demoralized, I told myself, I want to get that fastest lap. And sometimes, as human beings, we just need that little push, the little nudge to enter what we call a state of flow, where the time, the space seem like they cease to exist, and it's just you and the task that you have which exist. And it's something that you will hear from engineers when they talk about drivers. And I'm in no way a good driver. I'm in no way comparable to a real life racing driver. But the state of flow is something that all of us enter many times throughout our lives, and it allows us to enter a state of peak performance and peak concentration, where you don't get distracted by anything anymore. And it's something that, it's hard to do on purpose. You can train for it, but sometimes it's just a very little thing, like seeing a fastest lap and seeing that you're fast enough to do it. It's that may just be enough to get into that state and change the course of your own race. As I go through the second sector, I'm a tenth up on the fastest lap that now Iggy has by a few thousandths. And through this lap, I almost gained 2 seconds on BX and Sonic at the front. So and I close right up to Alex and Chris. So that's just to say, even though nothing particular has happened through this lap, I get the fastest lap, which will stay. And my race has changed because I went from being 7 seconds behind the leader to being 5 seconds to being on the verge of making a move on Alex. And now I can see the cars in front. And now that I see the cars in front, that's so much extra motivation to go for a move. And you will see how much that has an impact on my final laps of this race, because I will go on a rampage pretty much, starting from this move, which is my favorite move of the season probably. I'm on the outside for turn 6. I let Alex have the corner, and then I just floor on the throttle to get the inside line. Once again, we leave each other space, but now I have the inside for the hairpin, and that allows me up to P6. So getting that fastest lap, or the idea of potentially getting that fastest lap, turned around my race completely. And now I have another 5 cars in front, and I know that BX is the slowest car of the bunch. So with all due respect to BX, he's in the VGT, and I think he was struggling on tire wear. So if he can hold up everybody, I know that I can come back. I know that I have a shot at winning. Maybe not winning, but I have a shot at getting a podium. So following lap, I immediately clear Chris into turn 4. I think there was a bit of lag involved because his car just kind of moved around. But that's P5, and next is his teammate Bomber in the Mazda. We get to lap 24. The pace was very good. Bomber had very good pace. But again, everybody had very good pace. And Iggy has taken the lead and he's pulled away. Now BX is holding everyone up. So my goal at the moment is the podium. And that's a very clear goal, and that's what's driving me to having a very good performance so far in these very final laps. Because I was P8. I was P8 over 8-9 seconds behind the leaders, and now I'm here in that very same pack. I'm like in the same corner as the leaders. This was a bit of a, I don't know if it was super clean, but like, I think it was clumsy from both of us. I went for a move, and I think Bomber didn't see me until the very end, but we gave each other space at the end, so it's all fine. Now I'm right behind Sonic, and this is the biggest chip on my shoulder, because for the entire season, Sonic has been the guy who, at the very end of a race, arrives and just overtakes me because he has better tire wear. And this is my chance. I don't know if I will have any other chances throughout the season, but this is my chance to be the guy who overtakes him and not vice versa. So as we go through the main straight, I get the slipstream, I get the run, I take the exit slipstream. heading into turn one. Sonic will defend the inside, I will get the outside. We still go side by side, we give each other space, and again, clean racing. That's lovely to see from him. I'm not close enough for a move into turn 4, but still I will try to get as close as possible because I can feel it. Like the podium is right there, is 2 tenths in front of me. I want to get it now. As we go through turn 4, I don't know why he gets a bad run. Maybe he was a little bit low on fuel. That allows me to get a super good run through here, which I shouldn't get. And I get the inside, and he tries to leave me as little room as possible, but I've got the inside, so I'm gonna take it, and through the next hairpin it's P3, so I have the podium. Now my main focus is to use BX's slipstream to defend from Sonic. At the time I was not aware, I've seen it after the race, the BX's tires were shot. My rear right is not great, obviously, as you can see. But the fact that I pitted on lap 15 instead of 14 to potentially undercut is allowing me to have that little bit of extra life that gives me the opportunity to defend from Sonic. And as we were going through this straight, I realized I also have an opportunity to attack BX. I am completely fine on fuel because during the pit stop I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take like 2 more tenths of a second to get that little bit extra fuel and not risk anything, because the last couple of races I've always run out of fuel. So that's good to know because I can just push flat out. I get an amazing run through the SNS at the time that I needed it. I close in on BX and he decided to cover the inside here. I don't know if he needed to because I was not going to dive bomb him. But that compromises his line, and I just slide my way through up into P2. As soon as I get P2, I immediately cover the inside. And now I only have one job, which is use the strength of the Renault through the middle sector to pull away from the Peugeot as much as possible. In the sector where the Peugeot struggles the most, even though I'm on dead tires, I need to open up that gap because BX will come back at me in the main straight with his amazing straight line speed. So I need to build the gap now, which I'm doing. BX is dropping behind. Again, I didn't know that his front tires were shot as well. And I think Sonic was trying to overtake him as well. But we enter the final corner. I have a second 0.1 and I just have to focus on getting through it nice and cleanly, getting good traction, which is what I do. And the job is done. These final 6 laps were just some of my best 6 laps of league racing in my entire career, honestly. And I was very ecstatic and proud of getting this P2, starting second to last and being P8, 9 seconds off the leader after 19 laps and with only 6 of them remaining. So that's it, and I will see you next week for Road Atlanta. Goodbye.